to the average person, when you hear the word PSYOP, look out for a PSYOP. The drones, we allowed them from November 18th for 6 weeks, and we're not doing anything about it. Hey, look over here, but something's going on over here. How does the average person, one, identify PSYOP or even consider the concept of a PSYOP?
Man, that's a good question. I think the average person, just looking at what's going on, we're always involved in PSYOPs all the time. And when I say PSYOPs, there's a part of the U.S. Army that's special operations, that's PSYOPs. And when we say PSYOPs here, we won't be referring to like this is the U.S. Army. We're talking about just general psychological operations here. But if you're seeing large-scale things happen, the first thing you want to look at is what's the timing of this event and what's the context of what's going on. And then right away, what is the information that's being suppressed and what's being forced out into the public? Like these passports that happened and the ID card that was found in this guy who burned in a Tesla. Like somehow this thing mysteriously
You're talking about Matt Liversberger, who his Cybertruck exploded in front of the Trump Tower.
Yeah. So like what is information suppression and availability, and what's the timing of what's going on? Like, is there something else happening? So like, is a political candidate about to transfer power, or is something going on somewhere else that this could be some kind of distraction for? So we just go back to if you learn magic, and you get a magic kit when you're a kid, and they teach you like, well, shake your hand over here. Let me just do this thing. It's very basic. I'm just going to do a big thing over here to draw people's attention away. So we tend to think like there's some highly advanced technology going on to harness the power of a PSYOP, but it's usually pretty simple.
So for you, Chase, the average person sees the drones. Oh, it's the drones going on. The average person sees, with the Cybertruck and the whole ID that you're talking about, and then Sean Ryan and his crew talking about that email. When the average person sees it, they look at it at face value. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
How do you view it when you see it?
The first thing I'm looking at is what's the incentive here? Is there somebody that's going to gain from this being public or this being exposed to the public? And if you just look at the last few years, anything that we want to normalize to the public, we start out small. So we start out with these Freedom of Information Act releases like UAPs, drones, UFOs, all this stuff. And then these whistleblowers will come forward and start going on podcasts and they've been on Joe Rogan. They've been all over the place. So it's starting like this massive amount of information flux.
We had a couple of those. We had one of the guys on as well, if you're talking about the UFO whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Interesting business model. Keep going.
And who was the guy that you just had on? I watched it on the plane on the way over here. Dr. What was his name?
Stephen Greer?
Stephen Greer.
Okay.
Most believable guy I've ever seen from a body language perspective. Mm-hmm. Like he is very believable. There's some guys that I think are less credible. But if you just look at this release of information, and when I see the drones as a behavioral expert, I'm seeing this is a logical expansion of that narrative. This is just the next logical step in a normalization process. So we're normalizing these drones, and we're normalizing the aerial phenomenon, and then all of this stuff happening, we don't know what the end goal is. So if you're looking at a PSYOP, the end goal of all PSYOPs is to modify or shape behavior of a crowd of people, a group of people. So what would be the end result or the desired end result for somebody to shape a behavior of a country or a populace? So we want to normalize it, but then you got to go into, and I'm not going to speculate on this, but the next step is why? Why would this need to be normalized? What would the next step after that be?
So you got one incentive. Who benefits from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were going somewhere. So the business format is, here's aliens, crisis, scare everybody. Hey, potentially we need, because of this, and then you bring so you're saying the level of advancement of the way they would do it is, boom, claim this guy's a whistleblower, that he's going up against the government, where in reality he's actually representing them, trick the populace to believe in that he is on your side, and be careful with this. And the whistleblower increases confidence in saying, yeah, don't trust the government when it comes down to this, but this is what's really going on, which in reality, that's exactly what the government wants to relate to you and then trick the populace into distracting them from what the really is going to be. Is that kind of what you're saying? That's the business model?
Definitely possible. And I'm not casting aspersions on anybody, but I'm always suspicious if someone's coming out as a whistleblower when they have a list of what I'm allowed to talk about and what I'm not. And when a whistleblower comes out with, oh, I can't talk about that, I'm limited to speak on that, then they have a list of speaking points. And that makes me a little suspicious.
Do you have any examples of it?
Yeah. So I'm not going to mention any names, but you'll probably know who I'm talking about. You see somebody that comes out as a whistleblower, and they start talking about all these programs, and a podcast host is going, okay, well, tell me more about, are we doing this? Are we doing surgeries on these guys? Do we have these little alien creatures locked in a jar somewhere? They're like, oh, I can't mention that. That's the end of the road of what I'm allowed to talk about. And they're people with speaking points is what it is.
They're people. And so you mentioned Stephen Greer. Why'd you bring up Stephen Greer? Did you bring him up because you believe he is a PSYOP, or did you bring him up to say, no, that's a guy that actually believed that what he's saying is correct?
I believe Stephen Greer. Absolutely.
You believe him?
Yeah, and I just watched it yesterday when I was flying down here, and I watched the whole entire episode. And
you've never met Stephen?
Never met him.
Okay.
But every time I've seen him talk, he's okay with ambiguity. He's okay saying, I don't know that. We see so many people that are certain about everything. They know the reason, they know the why, they know maybe the star system that some kind of craft came from. They're certain. And I see the more certainty that I see in somebody, the less credible I tend to see them. I'm a little more suspicious, let's just say that. And he is okay with ambiguity and saying, like, I don't know what this is or what it's for, but this is the fact.
Can you give some of the most successful PSYOPs in the past that the government has used?
Dude, this one will keep you up at night. Can we type something in on the screen?
Yeah, of course.
So type in PSYOP Vietnam Ghost. So this is Operation Wandering Soul. So they learned that the Vietnamese believe that the ghosts of people stay around, and you can communicate with them sometimes, you can hear from them sometimes. So we found a way to kind of hack into the North Korean radio systems and had dozens of voices of ghosts that would play like phantoms over the radio and say, I can't believe what I did. I should have surrendered. I could still be with my family if I just surrendered. And this is like, you can hear the the tape is right there, but it's haunting, and it was a really good program.
So Vietnamese culture calls for a proper burial, becoming a one. So it is the Vietnamese belief that the dead must be buried in their homeland, or their soul will wander aimlessly in pain and suffering. Vietnamese feel that if a person is properly buried, then their soul wanders constantly. They can sometimes be contacted on the anniversary of their death and near where they died. Vietnamese honor these dead souls on a holiday when they return on site where they died. The U.S. used this to their advantage and tricked their Vietcongs into leaving by playing the audio recording of their dead friends. Are you kidding me?
It's insane.
And is that the example of what it sounds like? They actually have a recording of it?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. So what is this? What are we listening to?
So it's just some ceremonial music, but then the voices come in, and
Can you fast forward a little bit?
So now it sounds like a haunted house. Like, remember when you buy like a cassette tape of Halloween noises?
Yes.
It's kind of what it sounds like.
And what did this do? How successful was this operation?
I think it was very successful. I think a lot of people either chose to return home or so they could be buried at the right place, or to surrender so that they didn't get killed and they could make it back to their family. So this is a great example of it. But when it comes to behavior, Here's one of the biggest things. If I could divert really quick.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you can ever understand about human behavior is that human beings tend to overvalue language.
Human beings tend to overvalue language.
Yeah. So I teach persuasion and influence for a living.
Okay.
I don't teach PSYOPs all the time. I train PSYOPs maybe once a year. And that's at Fort Bragg. So when it comes down to, let's just take a basic example of sales, a sales team. Somebody says, well, I need a better script. I need a better thing for the phone. What do I say? Or somebody, let's say the top sales guy at a company has this record number of sales. What does the management do? They're like, okay, what is he saying? Not who is he, it's what is he saying? And that's the biggest mistake. It took me 15 years to learn this mistake that our species makes is we value language so much. And I've studied neuroscience for the past 7 years, and there is no structure in our brain designed for language. We have one for vision, for smell, for touch, motor control, all of this other stuff. There's no hierarchical structure in our brain for language. It's because it's pretty new to us as a species, and our brains haven't changed in 200,000 years. But we think, what do I need to say? And when I get clients, the first thing that clients ask me for is, we need a better script. I need more techniques and tactics. I need to know what to say. And I immediately go back, and we're 30 feet from an airport as we're sitting here right now. And I go back and I say, if I gave you a flight checklist, every single detail on it, for a Cessna 172, are you a pilot now?
No.
No. I mean, you can follow those little steps, but it's not going to make you fly the plane well. It's not going to make you do a good job. If I spent $50 million developing the most incredible sales script that's ever been written in the history of humankind, and I take that and I hand it to somebody who has social anxiety, and I tell them to go make a sale, it's not going to be very effective. So we fail to recognize as human beings that if I can influence that mammal part of the human brain, then I get results every time. And when it comes down to PSYOPs, it's the same thing. And that mammal part of our brain has 4 parts, or 4 things that influence it. And that spells out the word fate. And that's focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. Those 4 things. If you watch the most brilliant way to demonstrate this is if you just watch a video of Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. He's training these dogs. He doesn't sit down and talk to these dogs and say, listen, I know you haven't had a great life. I know you were abused in the last home, but these are new people. They're great. They're great folks. That's a mammalian brain that we're dealing with. And it's the same thing for human beings. And I could show you some beautiful examples of how fast, you could talk a human being into murdering a total stranger. The average person could be talked into murder in about an hour.
What do you mean?
We're going to get into it if we have time.
Of course.
But that's the biggest mistake, that we need to understand what influences the mammalian part of the human brain, that focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. Those 4 things are what truly influence human beings. It's not about language. And I spent my whole life learning, or the beginning parts learning, what are the words I need to say? What's the sneaky little script that takes place? But if we look at, and this is all going to tie back into how we're being influenced by social media, and it's not the language we're hearing, it's not the reports of all this stuff is going down, these attacks are happening. Those words are almost meaningless to us. It's the imagery. And even if you're thinking about just a quick sidetrack to that, if you're setting goals, just writing goals down in language doesn't do as much as you've heard of vision boards before, doesn't do as much as that. So when I'm teaching my clients how to set goals, the first question I ask is, how could you show your dog what your goals are? If your goals are not written in a way that you could show it to a dog, you're a lot less likely to accomplish them. So we have to get down to the mammalian brain because it's in charge. So for anybody who thinks the human new part of our brain is in charge of us, try to hold your breath until you die. You can't. You can't do it. That mammalian brain is going to knock your ass out. You're going to be laid out on the floor. So that is one of the biggest things that we really need to understand, is that when we're talking about any of this influence, it comes down to that focus, authority, tribe, and emotion.
nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.